After watching their South Yorkshire promotion rivals stumble over the last fortnight, the spotlight falls back on Kieran McKenna's Ipswich Town. The run-in begins now, and this is the Blue Monday podcast. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast discussing Ipswich Town up or down since 2015. I'm Richard Woodward and you're tuned into the Prematch show brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound Pub in Ipswich. We're available every week on YouTube video and podcast audio. But tonight we are live. We want to hear from you in the chat, returning after the international break. Wales fan, presumably, Seb. Seb Brown, welcome back. Nathan Broadhead. You must be the toast of your part of the world, right?
Makes no sense whatsoever. An Englishman living just over the border, but sure, why not? Yeah. Nathan Broadhead flags and shirts all around my estate for the last 2 weeks. Hello, mate. Good to be back. It feels like ages since Shrewsbury. We sat here 2 weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago last night, because I think I was travelling home. But it feels like it's been like a month or so. It's horrible. But it's the clocks are back. The weather is lighter. The weather's getting nice. It's the run-in. In the words of Flight of the Conchords, it's business time.
It's business time. Is it officially the run-in? I think we can say it's officially
the run-in. 10 is the run-in, isn't it? 10 is the run-in.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's unwritten rule. Okay, so we are announcing it here. This is run-in time. As we've mentioned, we are live, so we want to hear from everyone in the chat. Let's do a bit of a roll call. Gary, good to have you with us. Met him last night. Robert's here too. Neil, FBL Tractor, some of the Telegram VIPs. G'day to Michael from a very dark Brisbane. Have the clocks. There you go. We've even dealt with the clocks. Good stuff. We sprang forward, says Robert. Hi, Romeo. Hi, Neil. Seabass is back. There you go. Finally get to watch live. Happy Friday to you as well. Ashley, Chris ran missing Picard for this. Talk to me about Picard, Seb, because I couldn't give a rat's ass.
Absolutely love it. Wasn't too sure on seasons 1 and 2. So much so, actually, I stopped watching season 2 for a while and went back and finished it because I felt I had to before season 3. But season 3 has not missed a beat. It is absolutely brilliant. So, like Chris is going to do after this, I'm going to log off and go and watch tonight's episode.
Have you watched the latest episode of Ted Lasso, Chris? That's the real quiz. And to the Picard chat, I'm gonna dust off my Alan Partridge. You've revamped current affairs. Couldn't care less. Mark, good to have you with us as well. Zorax here. Would it be a pipe dream for Sheffield Wednesday to draw 1-1 and we win tomorrow? Would be hype. It would be scenes on social media. We'll drill into that. We'll talk about Derby, the focus for tonight's show. We'll give you all the insights on them. We'll also give some thoughts to how Ipswich might address this one and predictions as usual as well. A useless crap feature, which I hate. So there you go. Chris is back with the Ted Lasso chat. Zava, we'll breathe in with Zava. We need deep breaths during the run-in, definitely. Stephen, good to have you with us as well. Bluey, surely we can win them all. We are on a flyer. And good evening all. David Bergen's here as well. And Nick. Let's catch everyone up. As if people need reminding, Seb. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
It's been brilliant, hasn't it? How many times over the last, well, for me, 25, 30 years of being an Ipswich fan, how many times have we sat here and results never seem to go our way? Multiple last day things where we're third and need to finish second, and it never, ever works out. But for the last 2 weeks, it's been absolutely fantastic. We've done absolutely nothing since that Shrewsbury game 2 weeks ago, and everyone else is kind of dropping points left, right, and centre and stumbling. And as a result, I mean, we sat here 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And I think we both kind of said that Wednesday were relentless in their performances and they were nailed on for the title. And, maybe Plymouth will have a wobble, and we started to claw some points back. But now we are absolutely right back in it, aren't we? 4 points off Wednesday, 5 points off Plymouth, game in hand. Barnsley have dropped back a little bit. I don't think the last 2 weeks could have gone any better from a Town point of view. I guess if Cheltenham had hung on Wednesday night and secured that victory, that would have been absolutely perfect. But if you'd have offered us a point at 7:45 when they kicked off, I think we all would have taken that. So a brilliant 2 weeks that changes absolutely everything. And yeah, this is going to be an epic sort of mini 9-game season, 5-6 weeks to go. It's going to be brilliant. And there'll be plenty more, obviously, of twists and turns along the way. But yeah, I think this is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Romeo's gone believe here. We're going big on Ted Lasso tonight, obvious reasons. I feel like that needs to be maintained maybe I need to add that to the background, Romeo. David, fantastic support as always. Thank you for the super sticker, very generous there. And thank you to Stephen, who's given us a thumbs up on Facebook as well. The currency that we love here on Blue Monday is a thumbs up. If you can do a super chat, fantastic, but a thumbs up on YouTube really helps nudge us up the algorithm. Thank you to Matt, who's with us as well. Thank you for the thumbs up there. And Tom's joined us. Neil's here from Paris. Commenting on the political scene there. Neil, look after yourself. Come on, Seb, it's coming together, says Neil. We'll talk about the Pizza Cup when we deal with predictions, I think. So we'll deal with that. But your point there, Seb, your position was very bold and optimistic and ambitious, and you know that I'm you're the Channing Tatum, and I'm what the other one is. I've forgotten his name.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, thank you. I was going to say Seth.
You can't be downbeat after the last 2 weeks, surely, even you.
Well, your hypothesis was everything has changed. Has it? Has it really? Because we are still third, aren't we? And we are still mathematically third, and even games in hand, they bring us closer, and they bring us much closer than we would have been before. But nevertheless, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth are still the favourites, right?
Well, maybe on paper, I don't know what the odds are with the bookies. I wouldn't be surprised if we'd overtaken at least one of them, given the fact they are, dropping points left, right, and centre. I mean, Wednesday have taken, is it 2 points from the last 12 available? Yeah. Plymouth were on a dodgy run of form till 2 weekends ago. They've got the distraction of the Pizza Cup. No, I think we're in a title race. Personally, that might be me being ridiculously optimistic, but we're 5 points off it with a game in hand. We've won 6 on the bounce. We haven't conceded a goal for 7 matches now, with an informed side in the league. Our key January signings have bedded in and have now started delivering. So yeah, I absolutely think we're in a title race.
There you go, everyone. Let's have a sip of whatever Seb's drinking. Professionalism tonight, isn't it? Well, so good on you. In terms of just quick comment on Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley, and I totally agree with you in terms of the last couple of weeks. I think Ben's been pretty consistent. The level of form that Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley were showing was always potentially unsustainable. It was so positive. You look back to Sheffield Wednesday, and it's a ridiculous amount.
It's half a season unbeaten, isn't it?
Yeah, like 4 wins in a row, but their last defeat was the 14th of January, and then 10 wins and 2 draws. Sheffield Wednesday had gone basically half a season. The 4th of October was the last time they tasted defeat, and that was against Plymouth. Since then, 15 wins and 7 draws. So I guess the surprise, Seb, is the teams that it unsettled Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday, less so the fact that points were dropped, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, also, I was very torn before Barnsley faced Wednesday, and I kind of thought Wednesday had gone. I'd be quite happy for them to beat Barnsley, and obviously, therefore they'd extend their reach over us and keep Barnsley a bit firmer back. But the way it's worked out has been so much better. And then, I mean, I sat here 2 weeks ago and said I would do this show topless if Plymouth dropped points against Forest Green. I probably would have made the same stupid prediction had Wednesday been going there, because there was no way I could see that was ever going to happen. And pressure does funny things to sides. We've seen it in the past that when the going get tough, you want that kind of calm demeanor, I guess, on the touchline that we've got with McKenna. Wednesday are a huge side. They are an aging kind of squad. The Hillsborough side can be, we saw it when we went there. They can be loud and vocal and get on the players' backs. And I just think sometimes pressure does do strange things and can throw up the odd result, like Forest Green against Sheffield Wednesday, like us against Crewe in 1999. And as a result of that, I just think the way we're playing, we're the form side in the league, we're the best side in the league, and if these guys want to keep dropping points, happy days. We must make sure we're there to take full advantage of it. All we can do, I guess, is look after ourselves. But compared to 2 weeks ago when we last sat here, I really do think that our position has been so much stronger, and I go into these final 9 games really confident now.
There you go, Neil. Best international break ever. Barnsley fans must be raging. Seabass, my Sheffield Wednesday season ticket holding mate, is not feeling confident at all, begrudging the lack of transfer activity for them in January. We did talk about that, Seb, and it feels like we're the only team really in the top 4 that strengthened in January, and it's working really well, isn't it, when you consider the contributions that all the players have made, particularly, I guess, underrated at the time, but has been a real key player the last few weeks, Massimo Luongo. All 4 signings have enhanced us, haven't they?
Absolutely, and they've bedded in now. They were longer, didn't make an appearance for 2 months, whatever it was. Hurst took a while to get going. Broadhead wasn't amazing. Was it Cambridge? Either his second or third game, he wasn't amazing. But look how crucial they are now to us. We've did the work in January, got the signings in relatively early. They've had this kind of bedding in period. I mean, Broadhead his confidence must be amazing, having gone away with Wales. Yeah, exactly. He's gone away with Wales. Obviously,
read it out for the people on the podcast, Seb.
So Zorak is saying that Broadhead hat-trick tomorrow, which obviously would be incredible. But, he's gone away with Wales, scored his first international goal, an equaliser in the 92nd minute, away to a tough opponent in Croatia. So these January signings are really now bedded in. They're fully up to speed with the way we play football. And like you just said, even the one which was kind of a box-ticking one on exercise to get Luongo in to cover the central midfield positions, he's turning out to be absolutely crucial. So whilst our other sort of kind of competition have faltered a bit with the business they did in January, we've taken full advantage. And I think now we're going to start to see that kind of bear fruit.
Horsehollerer, yeah, great shout. This fair play to you. When I suggested a couple of weeks ago, this was in the comments, one of the pre-match shows. I sent a terse response. I'd say more of a questioning response, but nevertheless,
no, you were horrible to him. You were really mean.
Online bullying. Where's your evidence? Well, your evidence is manifested after the comment. To be fair, Horsehollerer, but it is a fair question, and at the time, none of us saw the wobble that Sheffield Wednesday have had. No. We expected the points to maybe dropped here and there, but the Forest Green one certainly definitely set the cant amongst the pigeons. So hopefully, Horsehollerer, that sample data increases over the next few weeks. Here comes when the fun stops. Stop everyone. But Rob Holmes, we're second favourites for promotion after Sheffield Wednesday with the bookies. Chris here, bookies of Wednesday, very narrow favourites over us, and Plymouth equal for the title. But as Romeo says, as you said, Seb, we just need to keep winning, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's briefly talk about ITFC women. I've done a pre-match show special with Kieran Stanley from the media team at ITFC Women, a massive game for them at the AGL Arena on Sunday against title rivals Oxford. That show available now. Check our feeds, our Twitter. It's linked to there. If you are in the Suffolk area on Sunday, please do get down to the AGL Arena and support the team. £5 for an adult. I think it's a couple of quid for kids. You can get your tickets on the turnstile. Make some noise. Potentially the great situation of 2 Ipswich Town teams hunting promotion down in the next few weeks. So really exciting stuff, really good insights from Kieran. So give that a watch and give the team your support. I know not everyone wants or is keen to get involved in women's football, but it's another Ipswich Town team. If it's anything, it's that. So give the Tractor Girls your support, and yeah, that show will give you all the insights that you need ahead of the big one on Sunday. Ian's with us as well. Good to have you here. And Lee, a lot of continuation of a similar theme here. Lee, we just need to keep doing our business, and what will be, will be. Well, let's have a look at the team who will be trying to stop us. Oh, Horsehollerer, no, it's fine. Just kidding, boys. No, Seb has called me out on it, and quite right too. The host gets a little slap on the wrist. Let's talk about Derby, Seb. They'll be looking to stop us on Saturday. A big team as we are, as Bolton are, as Sheffield Wednesday are, etc. Another one of these teams that probably shouldn't be down in this level. Season probably a little bit tough to forecast at the start because of the turnaround in playing staff. Yeah. Liam Racina coming in there, and maybe first season down here, as we know, is going to be a struggle. But they are in and amongst it, aren't they?
They are just about, yeah. So obviously we did the pre-season preview show with Gab, and we were really unsure where to place Derby because, like you say, at that stage, I think they had like half a dozen players, if that, didn't they? And there was, the takeover was still going through, huge turnover, a huge fallout from the relegation with the points deductions and the failed takeover attempt, and then Mel Morris finally leaving. So it was really hard to place what they were going to do. I think I predicted them for 6th. I thought they would just about scrape the playoffs, given the fact that they were. Pride Park's a big, a big crowd, can be a hostile place to go. I thought their home form would probably be quite decent, and I kind of figured that they're one of those clubs who I always think are a little bit jammy. Maybe I kind of have this criteria. There's no logic behind that whatsoever. I just, when I think of Derby, I kind of think sometimes they often fall the right side of things sometimes. So I kind of thought they might gate crash 6th, and that's exactly where they find themselves at the minute. I mean, it wasn't that long ago they were coming at us like an absolute steam train. I think they had a couple of games in hand, and we were starting to get a little bit concerned, thinking, could these guys ever take us? But they have fallen away in the last kind of month to 6 weeks or so. So they're currently sat in 6th, 64 points, 1 point ahead of Peterborough, who are in 7th, who are closing in on them. Obviously, it was a huge result for Peterborough last weekend against them. Peterborough hunting them down as it stands at the moment. Played 38 games, won 18, drawn 10, lost 10, 59 goals scored, 39 goals against. Their form in the last 6, like I said, hasn't been that amazing. It's 16th in the league with 2 wins, a draw, and 3 losses, and they've lost their last 2. The Peterborough game I mentioned a minute ago, and that surprising result against Fleetwood 2 weeks ago at Pride Park, which I guess has given us really, real hope for tomorrow, because it's not on the levels, obviously, of Sheffield Wednesday, Forest Green, but I don't think any of us would have predicted Fleetwood going there and getting a result.
No, but there's definitely, as you said, things we can take from that, and the Peterborough game in terms of how they set up their defence. I was surprised at how easily Fleetwood, for the second goal, got in behind Derby, and we know that's a strategy that we like to deploy. So the pace out wide, the likes of Davis, Clark, Burns, that will be a real threat for us, I think, potentially, if Derby play the same way as they have the last few weeks. I mean, you mentioned the home form. It is pretty strong, as you'd expect. Good. It's a bit of a fortress. You pack it full of people. It's going to be a difficult place for most teams at this level to go. And 40 points from 19 games is the 4th best. But it's probably the record against the top 6, Seb, that is the most telling for us. Talk to us about how other teams in the top 6 have got on at Pride Park.
Yeah, it's not that amazing overall, but at Pride Park it is pretty strong. They lost to Plymouth, they drew with Wednesday, but they beat both Barnsley and Bolton. So yeah, they're very much a home kind of side. I mean, you can't ask for more than 40 points from 19 games, over 2 points per game, can you? Especially given the uncertainty and stuff they had at the start of the season. So it's very much their home form, which has kind of seen them maintain that playoff charge. And their record against the top sides at Pride Park is fairly decent. It's away from home, they tend to struggle more. As pointed out by last weekend.
There'll be some stats that we pull out on certain players about home and away form shortly, but let's talk about that defeat at Peterborough, because it definitely felt like the kind of cliched game of 2 halves.
Yeah.
But the goals that they conceded, not great. I mean, well taken goals, but to me, the defence was a little bit static. They were definitely caught by balls in behind, and it looked a little bit chaotic, Seb. But talk to us about the pattern of the game and maybe what we can read into that.
Yes, it was a 2-0 defeat at London Road. But like many of their games, if you look at the forums and kind of listen to the fans on Twitter and stuff, they're pretty strong in the first half of games. They just seem to tail off quite badly in the second half, and that's exactly what happened against Peterborough. So the first half, Derby, all the stats were kind of dominating, and then Darren, who's the manager there? Darren Ferguson's back there, isn't he? Yeah, he made a change. He went to a 3 at the back system. They brought on Butler for Peterborough. Went to a 3 at the back system, and that completely changed the game. I mean, Derby still finished with the better stats. They had 58 possession, 13 shots, 5 on target, only created 1 big chance, 8 corners, so decent sustained pressure, but they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and they were caught out by Peterborough twice. And that's a really bad result for them because, like I said, they've tailed off a little bit. At one point, they were 4th, hunting us down, dropped down to 5th, and now they are kind of hanging on a little bit. And you've got Peterborough who are on a decent run of form. You've got Wickham not too far outside it either, and they are really now clinging on. It's not what you want. Do you remember 14-15? We went into this kind of run and we were kind of limping across the line, and there were some performances that weren't amazing, and that's not what you want this time of year, is it? You want those kind of confident performances where you go out and really kind of set out a marker to the rest of the table. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're all about. And as we saw in 14-15, I remember going to Huddersfield with you, and we were crap that day. We lost 2-0 or 2-1 or something. We were rubbish, and we kind of limped across the line, got in the playoffs, and we didn't really pull up any trees apart from maybe a 20-minute spell in the first leg against Norwich. And that's what they won't be wanting to do. If they keep this up, Peterborough are going to overtake them, because that Peterborough side is always going to have goals in it, given the players they've got. And Derby at the minute are just on the wrong side of a bad run of form, aren't they?
A lot of people in the chat worried about that Peterborough away fixture as well. So chimes with your thoughts there. I mean, Michael here, we'll deal with this very briefly. We'll talk about Paul Warne in a second, but Michael's suggesting that Derby might play with a high press and a low block. My experience and my conversations with Derby fans is that they don't play with a low block. I think maybe their best bet against us would be to do that, but I don't think they have the players or the mentality to do that. But Seb, that's probably where Paul Warne would probably like to go, from our experience with watching his Rotherham teams, comprehensively deal with us in previous League One seasons.
That's what we always knew from a Paul Warne side, wasn't it? You knew they were going to turn up, be organised, press high, frustrate you, be disciplined, be physical. Some of those Rotherham centre halves over the years were absolutely huge against us, and that's the kind of football that Paul Warne plays. He's not a free-flowing, attacking Kieran McKenna style of manager. He's much more in the Darren Moore kind of mould, isn't he? Of being, hard to beat, resolute, and kind of, look to build from the back and make
Physical.
it tough for physical, make it tough for the opposition, dominate physically, and take advantage that way. So he's not the kind of manager to get sides playing free-flowing football, I wouldn't suggest.
Let's talk about the record against us. We obviously remember the game at Portman Road back in October. Third kit gate, shall I call it that? Where I was a little bit miffed about us wearing that.
I wasn't bothered.
I think I care less and less about it, but probably played them at the right time. There were a few injuries. I think Hurahan and McGoldrick both came off the bench in that one, which I think helped us. But I think we deserved the victory. Wes Burns with a little bit of help from Caden Jackson being a little bit profligate, and a missed penalty as well. But I think we just about deserve that one. And again, noting Horseholler's point earlier about sample data, more proof that the Sky curse is maybe not as bad as we think as well.
Yeah, maybe. Under the lights, it was a great atmosphere. I wasn't there. I watched it on telly with it being a Friday night game. I remember all the pyrotechnics before the game, and the black shirt was being worn. And we fully deserved that victory. It could have been more with Jackson's penalty. And I didn't think they were that amazing, but that was actually the start of a really good run of form for them. I remember Curtis Davis going off injured, and they kind of did a bit of a reshuffle in the back line that we'll discuss when we go through their squad. And after that game where they lost to us, they actually went on a 15-match unbeaten run. And I think that was the time when we started to wobble a little bit in kind of, latter November, December time with the likes of the Charlton game, for example, the Fleetwood late equaliser. And I think that's the time we kind of thought they were hunting us down a little bit. But on that night, we fully deserved to win. And our record at Pride Park is pretty decent as well, isn't it? In recent years, I can remember we always seem to go there under Mick and just win 1-0. I think I can remember 2 or 3 occasions of us doing that. So our record there is pretty decent against them as well.
Yeah, Luke Varney's on co-coms for iFollow tomorrow, and he scored a long ranger 15-16.
Yeah.
There's the Waghorn corner to Callum Connolly to bundle in 17-18, where we snuck that one. And in fact, the most recent game between the two sides at Pride Park was a 2-0 win for Derby, but that was the 18-19 season against Frank Lampard's Derby with goals from Joe Ledley, who I couldn't even remember playing there, but he obviously did.
Yeah, I remember.
And Tom Lawrence was there at that point as well.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, as you say, our record, they're generally decent, and overall head-to-head record, Town generally on top, 37 Town wins to Derby's 29 with 22 draws. So it is a fixture we've got the just about the bragging rights on. Remind us a little bit about the situation with Derby last season, and talk to us about Paul Warne as well. We mentioned him already, but let's just rattle through that quickly.
Yeah, so relegation, we all know how it went for them last season. 2 separate point deductions totaling, was it 21, 22 points, I think, in the end, for their various financial kind of misdemeanors. The takeover went through in the summer, so Rooney takes them down, and there's kind of this massive clear out of the established players. Waghorn, I think, got released. Tom Lawrence went to Rangers on a free. They have a huge clear out, and they're left with half a dozen players going into this pre-season. Local businessman David Clowes buys the club, and they're under various EFL kind of embargoes and various rules about who they can and can't sign and fees they can spend and salary caps, that kind of thing. And then they appointed Liam Rossini, didn't they, as an interim manager? I think I think that was on the official statement as well. They kind of said, this is our interim manager. And a few of us in the Telegram group, it might have been you actually, kind of pointed out that doesn't really exude confidence in your new appointment, does it? So it was no real surprise about 6 weeks into the season when suddenly Paul Warne rocks up with pretty much all of Rotherham's backroom staff as well. He brought just about everybody with him. And we all kind of thought then, right, well, thankfully we're going to play these guys in about a month's time, and that's probably a much better time to be playing them than after he's had a January transfer window and might be able to do some stuff in the market. And yeah, I think we were quite relieved that we were getting them out of the way early before he could really kind of instill his tactics and his philosophies, because we all know what kind of sides he produces. Rotherham schooled us at least twice, I can remember, since we came back down. I remember there was a 2-0 defeat under the latter end of Cook's reign at Portman Road, where we didn't even lay a glove on. Let's be honest, did we? They absolutely bullied us. He's been there since September. He's managed 36 games, won 17, drawn 9, lost 10, 1.67 points per game. As we've said, he's best known for that time at Rotherham. Lower league playing career, the likes of Wigan, Mansfield, Oldham, Yeovil, and he played for Rotherham. And obviously, we all know he's a Norwich fan, which massively goes against him. I quite like him personally. I find him quite charismatic. He's kind of his interviews can be relatively kind of good fare compared to some of the generic stock answers you get from managers these days. So I don't mind him, apart from the fact obviously he's got awful taste in football clubs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's charmed you, has he? He's charmed you. I'm not.
I just think he's a bit different.
I think yeah. Look, he's a nice guy. I just, in terms of football, and a little bit of some disingenuousness about his press conference pre-match. He's definitely trying to, a lot of what the Cowleys do.
They're the underdogs, according to him, apparently, aren't they? The underdogs at a full Pride Park, apparently. All the mind games were coming out in that interview.
There you go. I'm pulling at these strands. I thought you liked him, mate. You've just chucked him under the bus. Let's move on. A lot of good chat about Derby memories. Do you want to give us your one?
My one is the 4-4. I was there. There you go. Yeah, 4-1 up at half time. I think it was Creswell, Murphy with a couple, I think. And yeah, absolutely bizarre. And then as the game went on and on, I think Steve McLaren had been appointed but wasn't involved. And he goes down at half time to the dressing room and performs a tactical masterclass. And obviously we end up drawing 4-4. That's my overriding memory. And then that's the other one I was going to mention. I saw Neil put in the chat. We were there, weren't we? I still don't think I've celebrated a goal as much or did that one. There were, what do the kids say? Is it limbs? There were limbs everywhere. We fell forward about 3 or 4 rows. Yeah, that's the ultimate smash and grab. We were shocking on that day, and Loach saved a penalty and they should have been out of sight. And then Edwards just gets the freedom of the pitch, advances and absolutely smashes one in the bottom corner, and we went nuts. So they're my 2 overriding memories.
FPL Tractors mentioned the 1-1 draw at the end of the 2000-2001 season, where we were going into that game still mathematically with a chance of Champions League, if you can remember that far back, folks. I remember finishing the season, Matt Holland's last game. Was it 4-0, 4-1?
Scored with his last kick of the game, didn't he?
Yeah. We drank about 20 VK oranges that night, didn't we? That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Let's move it on. Drink responsibly, kids. How does Paul Warne set his team up? Because I think traditionally we'd expect a back 3, but you suggest there's a little bit of experimentation here.
Well, they're limited, aren't they? The squad isn't the biggest and they can't really do much business. They only bought one person in the January window and it was a midfield appointment. So he's kind of working with what he's got. The Rotherham sides were always 3 big physical centre-backs that he kind of likes to mould his team around. However, very much it's been a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 at Derby. Kind of just all you do is advance the central midfielder a little bit. But like I say, that's very much. I'd be surprised if the shenanigans of the fallout of if the fallout of the financial stuff is resolved this summer and they're allowed to go out and kind of spend what they want to spend. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it returned to a kind of a back 3 system next year with some real big 6-2, 6-3 centre backs to kind of build from the back. But it's a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 at the moment.
And one arrival in January, Harvey White, who had a pretty good game by all accounts, pretty unlucky not to get a penalty last week at Peterborough. I mean, the main players we'll kind of go through the squad in kind of positional order, shall we? So Joe Wildsmith at the back, 15 clean sheets, says here, Seb, 9 at home. This is this trend of dominant stats for home performances versus away. Aaron Cashin's probably the name that most people know as well. Do you want to tell us about him?
I thought he was excellent against us at Portman Road. He's the next big thing. I mean, if they don't go up, surely he'll be off to the Premier League. Republic of Ireland under 21 international. I'd imagine he'll be off to the Premier League and then probably get a loan back to the Championship. We were discussing it, weren't we, in the Telegram group earlier? Is he one we might have an eye on if we were to get promoted? But I think the money he'd go for, he'd be out of our league. He'd go to a kind of mid-table, lower to mid-table Premier League side who would then presumably loan him back to the Championship for a year or 2 of experience, a bit like Brian did with Matt Clark and stuff. This kind of thing you do to try and develop players a little bit. He's the main guy at the back. Joe Wildsmith, the keeper, like you just said, 15 clean sheets, 9 at home. He's saved 4 penalties so far this season, all of which came in a crazy 2-week spell. Back in October. The last one was the Caden Jackson one. I remember saving 2 from McConville for Accrington as well. So building from the back. You've got the 2 fullbacks, Corey Smith and Hayden Roberts. Smith's the right back, Roberts is the left back. Cashin will be partnered in the back by Craig Forsyth. He's the guy that kind of shifted inside. So he's been at Derby for age. I think he's like 8, 9, 10 years or so. He shifted inside when Curtis Davis got injured and kind of cemented a place in the back line. So that'll be the back four and the keeper. And then the midfield is, well, Conor Hourihane, who I've described in the past as a bit of a cheat code, I think, at this level. I was surprised when they signed him because he was at Sheffield. He missed a penalty for Sheffield United in the playoffs last year, didn't he? Against Forest, I think it was. So I was surprised he ended up going to Derby. I thought he'd easily do a level at the championship level, but they signed him in the summer. He'll kind of sit in the midfield, bit of a box to box. 7 goals, 9 assists so far in 36 appearances. 6 of those 7 goals have come at Pride Park. So again, more ammunition to the fact they are very much, a kind of a home side. And Max Bird will sit alongside him. He's come through the academy, kind of survived the fire sale that went on with the administration and the various kind of takeover bids. He'll sit alongside him. He's the more defensive of the two. He'll kind of sit back and allow the likes of Hourihane to get forward a little bit. 1.6 tackles per game, 1.2 interceptions per game. He's recently back after an injury, and he's kind of the main guy in midfield next to Hourihane.
Lee and Rob have given a shout out for Mendes Lang, pacey and powerful.
Yeah, dangerous,
winger.
powerful, pacey. 7 goals and 7 assists so far this season. Wasn't that amazing? I don't remember him against us at Portman Road, but very experienced at kind of championship level. He'll be the one on the right hand side. I think we've lost Rich. I have no idea what happens now.
It's just my camera.
Oh, you are there. Okay, cool. Yeah, he'll be kind of playing down the right side. The left side is a bit more up in the air. The kind of left of the forward options. Lewis Dobbins got 3 goals and 4 assists in 36 appearances, but Tom Barkhausen might well come in. He's been more of a bench option in the last few weeks. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists in 34 appearances. Ex-Preston, so again, another one of these players that's very experienced and has kind of dropped down. He might well be one that comes in on that left-hand side. The number 10 was Harvey White last week out. He's the guy that joined from Spurs on loan in the January window. But Jason Knight is back from international duty with, I think it's the Republic of Ireland. He's back, so I'd imagine he'll probably come back in, and he's the one that might play a bit more advanced in the kind of the 4-3-3, making it into a 4-2-3-1. And then we have the striker, our good old friend, Classy.
You can still find him.
Yeah, Mr. McGoldrick is still going. He's going very well, actually. 16 goals in the league so far this season, 3 hat-tricks. 14 of his 16 goals have come at Pride Park. So, he's having a great Indian summer to his career. 5 assists. He missed a couple of games a couple of weeks ago, and we kind of thought, oh, hang on. I remember me, Ben, and Dave, I think it was, discussing it on the Flagship. We kind of said, we all know what happens if McGoldrick misses a few. That can a little knock can suddenly become a 2, 3, 4 week kind of timeout. But he's back in. He started last week against Peterborough, and he's kind of the main man who will lead the line looking for the goals. But if he doesn't, then James Collin, who's probably much more a Paul Warne striker, I would suggest, big physical player. He's kind of the other option up front. They signed him from Cardiff, I think it was. 9 goals in 34 appearances, 4 of the 9 at Pride Park. He's the other option in case McGoldrick is, doesn't make the selection, and he's the guy they'll kind of turn to for the if it's not going well off the bench in the second half.
Did you quote the number of goals that McGoldrick scored at home versus away, by the way?
Yep, 14 of the 16 have come at home.
Crazy that.
Yeah.
And that it sums up Derby's season. It's crazy the amount the swings, and we'll talk more about that in terms of the stats towards the end. But McGoldrick, if anyone, and certainly Hourihane as well, just typifies this difference of home versus away form. Do you want to give us the details of other players that might make appearance? Barkhausen is a name that probably people know.
Yeah, like I said, he's the guy that might come in on the left instead of Lewis Dobbin. He might, he's been a bench option in recent weeks, but he might come in and end up in that kind of left forward kind of role. They've got a few injuries. Tony Springer is on loan from Norwich. He's been announced today that he's out. He got clattered by Cashin training on, I think they said it was Tuesday, so he's out of the picture for this weekend. He's back. There you go. He's back, thankfully. I was really worried you might have left the entire recording, and I've got no idea what I would do once I finished the script. So thanks for returning. James Chester, they brought in, a very experienced centre back. He's out injured. He's not featured since October. He's working his way back, but yeah, he's not one that will be around. Curtis Davis is now back from injury, but is kind of the backup kind of the centre back option. He's 37, 38 years old, so time is not against him. And Richard Stearman is still there. Those of us that remember,
find him.
Yeah, the crunching right back who joined us in the year Mick saved us. I would have loved to have signed him. Yeah, really, really good player. He's there, but he in the kind of more mould of Shawnee Aluko, he's taking on a performance analysis kind of role for the first team there. So they have got a few injury issues. That's why, like I say, it must be hard for Warne to do what he wants to do, but working under these kind of constraints.
A few comments here. Knight played very well against France, says David.
Yeah, he'll come back in.
Stephen talking about the aging team. No wonder they struggle second half. Yeah, great shouts. Bring on our subs will win it for us when they tie. Yeah, great shout. Horse Holler, in what minute do we think Morsey will get carded for flattening? Did he?
Of course, yeah, he's playing. Yeah, he can play with the pressure off again now, can't he? Yeah, he'll definitely smash into Hurahan within the first 10 minutes.
Let's deal with the Stephen's point there on age before we deal with the other stats. You've mentioned here Derby have the second highest average age squad in the league, but probably more stark for me is there's no players in the Derby squad, at least from the data that I could find, between the ages of 23 and 26, which is kind of your peak for outfield players, at least getting towards peak. Whereas they've got 10 players who are 22 years and younger, and 13 players who are 27 and older. There's this weird kind of gap, this chasm of age in the squad. Yeah. Whereas ITFC, we've got 9 players in our squad between 22 and 27. It's a really weird one, but it's got. Someone mentioned that the home form, if you're an academy player, young player, gives you that boost, doesn't it? But it's also true that if you've got an aging squad, they're going to tire as well. It's kind of a very random, lopsided squad, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah. In the summer, the business they did was very much kind of Dad's Army, looking to cheers, Andy. Yeah, thank you. Please do hit the like button. Yeah, it was very much kind of Dad's Army, kind of babysitting the academy prospects that weren't snapped up by other clubs, and it explains exactly why they can't press for 90 minutes and why they do fade badly in the second half of games. I've just listed Curtis Davis 38, Richard Stearman 34, McGoldrick 35, Chester's 33, 34. There are a lot of older players in there, some of whom won't be involved in the weekend, but there are a lot of players in there. I mean, if you want to press from the front, best will in the world. I really like David McGoldrick, but he's not the player you want, is he, for that kind of work? And even James Collins is more of a kind of physical option rather than an out and out presser. So yeah, this is why they kind of do fade badly, which is, I guess, what's affected them in the second half of the season.
Yeah, good stuff, Seb. We'll be back in a second.
Innovation Labs is business hub and co-working space with strategic locations across Suffolk. Our aim is to foster innovation, entrepreneurship, business growth, and the development of an AI centre of excellence in Suffolk. Monthly hot desks are available from just £79. For more info, head to innovationlabsgroup.com or contact info@innovationlabsgroup.com. Innovation Labs, providing support for businesses across Suffolk. Locations in Stowmarket, Ipswich, Sudbury, Woodbridge, with more to follow.
Let's go through the stats. We all know that I love my stats, but I don't think they really tell us much that we don't already know, Seb. Goals scored, 4th best in the league. These are home stats, by the way. So the 4th best goals scored record at home. Shots per game is pretty good. Shots on target, pretty good. 5th in League One. 2nd overall for big chances created, home and away. Also top for big chances missed as well. So maybe that's telling for that away form. XG doesn't really tell us anything that we don't know in terms of the goals they're scoring. Their home XG is the 6th best, 1.8, and they're scoring on average 1.95 goals per game. So they're converting the same number of chances you expect based on the quality that they're creating. Possession, again, not particularly exciting, except probably more so than you'd expect for a Paul Warne side, perhaps, or we're making judgments on Rotherham, aren't we? But yeah.
Yeah, again, we have to caveat that he's kind of, he's not got what he really wants to work with at the moment, I would suggest. But the style of play, 56% position is 6th in the league, mirroring their league position. I wouldn't have thought that a Paul Warne side would have had those kind of percentage figures. He was very much playing, not percentage football, but, he'd be happy to sit back and kind of be organised and say to teams, you have the ball and try and break us down. So that's a bit of a surprise. 74% passing accuracy is 8th. They average 366 short passes per game, which again is 6th, mirroring their league position. It's only 68 long balls per game, which is 20th. So yeah, the 4th sort of least in the league, which was surprising again, given a Paul Warne side. But I guess if you've got McGoldrick up front, the game is not going to be for a centre back to ping a ball to him, is it? He's not that kind of player. 8 dribbles on home on average in the home games is 2nd. They're pretty good at dribbling. I guess that's going to be very much kind of Mendes Lang down the right hand side, yeah. And 63% of their home shots come from within the penalty area, so they're not a side that's going to try and smash one in from range.
Yeah, and the defensive stats, again, no real surprises. These are the home variation of the stats. 16 goals conceded, only 16 goals conceded is the 6th best defensive record. Their home goal difference of plus 21, the fourth best. By the way, their away goal difference is -1. So again, just illustrating that the dynamics between home and away form. You know, they're not conceding too many shots to opposition teams. 8 shots conceded per game, the second best in the league behind us. And their XGA is 1.04, and they're conceding 0.84 goals per game. So actually, they're doing better in terms of the goals you'd expect them to concede from the chances that they let the opposition have. So, you know, a good, fearsome home side at this level. Certainly one that needs to be respected. Seabass will respect you. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thanks, mate.
Fellow Sebastian, for the super chat there. Very much appreciate that. But the thumbs up is also excellent currency for us here on Blue Monday as well. But thank you for your support. And good to have you back with us as well. Upper Town, says Tom. Thanks for joining us as well. Any more bits and pieces on the stats? So I think we've been very thorough this week, haven't we? Worth noting, you mentioned first half and second half. They're second in the first half home table. So in terms of what their games are like at half time, points wise, second best in the league, and then that regresses down to 6th in the second half table. So we know they've got a fearsome home record anyway, but they definitely slacken off a little bit or tire perhaps. So maybe that bodes well. Should we talk about? Let's talk about me. Let's talk about us, Seb. Not a huge amount of thought that goes into this one, surely.
Don't change it personally. I know we've said about pace and stuff, and is it maybe a game for Jackson? Jackson was utilised very well in the home game, but given that we're 6 on the bounce, Hurst is scoring goals, Broadhead scoring goals, I wouldn't change a damn thing unless there's been an injury that we don't know about personally. Would you change anything? Surely you keep it as it is, don't you? And if it's not working well, then at 60, 65, Jackson comes off the bench to really kind of, run at the fullbacks and stuff. But I wouldn't change a thing personally.
Yeah, I agree. I forget who mentioned the subs in the chat. It might have been Lee. Apologies if I've got that wrong. I think that's a great shout. The question for me is Broadhead and Burns, are they up to speed having been away for international football?
Didn't really play though, did they? They didn't start, not many minutes.
But it's a different system. It's a different surroundings, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure they come straight back into the team, but maybe they're subbed a little bit earlier than maybe they would have been before. And a lot of chat in the Telegram group about Jackson, maybe being the game for him, and the Fleetwood game, that second goal, as I mentioned, Derby caught high up the pitch. Pace could be our friend, and Harry Clark, perfect for that as well. So I agree with you. I think we keep it as is, and George Hurst, I think, has got an important role to play, Seb, hasn't he?
Yeah, very much so. The way he's playing at the moment, 2-2, 2 completely different kind of goals. The finish away at Bolton, and then the lovely header after a decent work moved against Shrewsbury. Yeah, he's the man in form. He's the man they wanted all summer. We know that they couldn't get it across the line. He's now fully fit. He's playing well. He's fully integrated into the way we're playing. And yeah, I think Ladapo will still get game time. I think he might get a couple of starts in the final 9. But if Hurst starts all of our 9 games, and we saw at Pompey last year, once he gets up and running, he tends to score in streaks, doesn't he? So 2 in his last 2 games. I know he got the one against Burnley, but that was a cup game, and there was some sort of dubious, was it his goal or was it not? So yeah, hopefully he's off on a run now, and yeah, he's going to be crucial because he presses so well from the front. The work the amount of running he puts in is absolutely phenomenal. He's not the biggest guy. Sorry, he's not the quickest guy in the world for a big man, but he's the effort he puts in. Normally he's goosed by 60, 70 minutes, and that's when Ladapo can come on and play a really kind of crucial role. But yeah, for me, if Hurst is fit, then I've got no issue with him being the main guy.
Yeah, FBL tractor pace off the bench, he says. Neil Wilmore will tire them and hit them with speed at 70 minutes. Eric, I don't know if this is I think this is a question about us. Cover for back 2 ? I mean, is Richard Keogh going to be on the bench against his old club?
Nah, because Danassian can cover them all, can't he? Danassian can be the right back, an emergency left back, and
narrative. Though, Seb, narrative. No,
he's never kind of played. He's never kind of played in a back 2, I don't think. But I don't think we're going to need him. Burgess is pretty solid. Wolfenden's been excellent so far this season. So no, Keogh will have to remain patient till he comes off the bench at Fleetwood and scores the 90th minute winner that clinches us the title.
More of this optimism.
There's your narrative.
There's your narrative. Lovely stuff. Thanks, Seb. Keep your thoughts coming. We'll go to predictions next. So if you want to give us your predictions on Derby, Ipswich, or any other crazy game in League One that might happen, Pizza Cup as well, give us your thoughts on that one as well. But we'll go there in a second. In terms of bits and pieces of information, as always, we're brought to you in partnership with the Greyhound. Do head down there ahead of the Wickham game next week, isn't it? On Good Friday, I think.
It is.
Come around quick, isn't it? Blimey. and Innovation Labs as well, our partners there as well. Telegram group, lots of exciting stuff happening in Telegram right now. We're trying to find ways to make that more attractive. There's a chat with Ali from the Not the Top 20 podcast with Ben. We've got another Q&A coming up as well. We had a meetup as well yesterday, Thursday night. So plenty of stuff alongside, Seb, just a myriad of chat groups and conversations happening seemingly 24/7.
Yeah, it's great. All these little extra videos that are getting dropped in are just added bonuses. The main takeaway from it is the fact you can come here and have decent, reasoned, logical debate amongst fellow football fans in a multitude of different groups. So if you're not that into certain things, you can mute certain other ones. The match day chat was open today, and you used the Titanic meme saying it's been 84 years because it does feel like an awful long time since that match day was open. Come and get involved. It's only a $5 a month. You get 2 weeks free trial. Only a $5 a month after that. It means you can avoid Twitter. You can avoid some of the toxicity. Come and join us. We don't all agree on everything. There are debates that go on. There are disagreements that go on, but it's always respectful and polite and nice. And it's a really, really good place to come and join us.
And the only place that I think you can contribute to real-time polling as well, because I think Twitter is getting rid of that unless people are verified or something crazy like that. So avoid the. We can swear, can't we? The batshit craziness of Twitter. There you go. I've got one in there, but we always welcome folk on Telegram. And thanks to everyone who's joining us tonight as part of that community. It's been really great fun for us. Merch store has got a 20% promo until Sunday night. So if you want some Blue Monday merch goods, then that's where to head. Blue Monday ITFC, the URL at the top there. All the bits and pieces you need, all of our shows, all of our socials, the merch store, etc. Everything is on there. The link to join Telegram. And as always, the Flagship show is back on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Get involved in the live chat there. Ben, Dave, Seb, who's there, and maybe me if the ITFC Women Oxford Gamers got some big talking points. But always good to finish the weekend off with a review. And talking of leaving a review, or I definitely offered a giveaway if someone left a compelling podcast review in iTunes, and we've got a winner, Seb, haven't we? From that, we need them to get in contact and decide whether they want 10 quid in our merch store or 10 quid in Planet Blue. I probably know which I'd go for, if I'm honest. But do you want to explain the winning item and why you've picked it?
I've never seen this before. I presume you've picked this, haven't you? No, I'm joking. I picked this out early. Yeah, great to have some 5-star reviews. Thank you. It really helps us with all the stuff that I don't understand about matrix algorithms and moving things up.
Matrix.
It's basically science. I don't understand it. So thank you to Video Victim for leaving his very kind review. And obviously he commented that you're the best host or contributor, and he figured you'd be the only person looking at that. So that's why we picked out that one. I like the strap line that it was better than a James Bond bank holiday marathon. So yeah, top work. Get in touch and let us know if you want the £10 Planet Blue or the £10 Blue Monday merch store voucher, and Rich will sort you out.
Good stuff. Thank you, Video Victim. And thank you, everyone else as well. A good handful of reviews coming in there. Rob, I think, emailed one as well. Someone put one in the YouTube comments. So thanks, everyone. If you want to head over to iTunes, that would be the best place to do those kind of things. But as always, a thumbs up on YouTube is always good value for us as well. Right, I can put this off no longer. I'm the Sheffield Wednesday of predictions, Seb.
You ain't that good, mate. You ain't that good.
Touche. I mean, last time out was a bit of an absolute. Well, look at all that red. I mean, let's not pretend it's a vintage week. You have fallen across the line. It
doesn't matter. Got
14-15 style. You've relied on everyone else losing, but you did get the only correct prediction. The 1-alls. I don't know why I just going to go 1-all. All across all the games, because that seems to be the way to go. So
when was the last time you won? Is it like 4 or 5 weeks?
It doesn't matter. It's just about.
It does matter because you were so happy and enjoying the feature, and now this gives me real joy again in my life. That I know you'll be miserable for a 7-minute segment every live Friday night or Thursday pre-record.
So you're within 2 now, two out rounds from taking the top spot, and we did agree, didn't we? Essentially it's a forfeit, isn't it, for the loser out of us two? Do you remember what you agreed to? Yeah, we were gonna print a t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Can you remember?
I can't remember the exact details. We have to print a T-shirt with a huge face of the other person on it. And are we wearing it to a game or something, aren't we?
I think we're wearing it certainly on the pod.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Have I got to wear it to a game as well? I think
we should wear it to a game because on the pod you can't really see stuff because of the camera angle. Yeah. So I think a game of our choosing is wise as well.
Yeah, Fleetwood.
I'm going to have you wear it to Carrow Road next season.
Yeah, on the pitch. And the photo definitely needs to be like a Steve-O tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just your biggest fan, Alan. Let's have a look at this week. Let's move it on. There's positivity now from this point onwards for me. Let's have a look what we've got. We've highlighted the other teams in the automatic hunt. Barnsley, Morecambe, we're not expecting Morecambe to do us any favours. Again, similar to Derby, just shocking away from home, aren't they, Morecambe?
Yeah, rubbish. I can't see Barnsley are going to do that quite comfortably, I would have thought.
And Sheffield Wednesday, Lincoln, Seb, are you expecting a bounce back?
I am, yeah. I think they'll come back on that one. I mean, Lincoln are very, very good at home, aren't they? Sort of unbeaten. A lot of draws, obviously, but I can't see them going to Hillsborough and getting much at all. I think Wednesday will have that one.
Lincoln have, if I can just pad for time a little bit, apart from beating us, Lincoln have also beaten Barnsley, I believe.
Yeah, but I'd be staggered. That would mean 2 points from the last 5 games, wouldn't it, for Wednesday? If that happens, 2 points from 15. They're not that.
Man, I thought you were the optimist here. Lincoln.
No, I am, but they're not that bad. I can't see that would be a cataclysmic drop off a cliff of form. The Forest Green result was a shock. They showed a bit of character to fight back midweek against Cheltenham. I can't see anything. I'm not making a stupid prediction about doing this show.
Yeah, what are you going to do about it
or anything? Yeah, no, nothing. But Wednesday. I think for me, I think I went 2-0, didn't I? I think relatively straightforward for them for that one. I don't think this will be a weekend where we can claw much back. Put it that way.
No, well, so focusing on us before we have a look at what everyone else is thinking, I went 1-1 early doors. We did our prediction show, which you can still watch, where we tried to predict the results or the outcomes, at least for the last 9. And I've been pretty consistent that a point at Derby is not to be sniffed at. But the more we've talked through it, the more I've done research, I'm feeling more confident, Seb. But
yeah,
you've flip-flopped. I haven't.
I've changed my mind as well. I had 1-1. That was my prediction for the show you did. But I submitted that prediction before the Peterborough game for them last week. And I just think at Pride Park, they have to really kind of win this, I think. They have to, in front of their fans, they've got Peterborough absolutely hunting them down. I think they have to put on a decent display and kind of look to take the game to us and beat us. And I think a side that does that, I would feel confident 99 times out of 100 against that kind of side playing football against us. So I revised my decision on my drive back from work. I sent you a text and said, flip it. I think we're going to win 2-1.
Flip, reverse it. Well, Mark's confident as well. Let me get the right screen up. There we go. He's going for a 3-1. We're all predicting the clean sheet run is going to come to an end, Seb. I guess it has to at some point, but it would be a real statement if we could do that. And I think it sets an EFL record, I think, this season as well.
If you could, 8 on the bounce would be absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I just think they do score goals at Pride Park. Yeah. What was it, 5th best in the league or so? So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we do concede one. But we've got so many goals in the side at the moment. It doesn't matter who's in those forward positions. Burns is coming back into form. Chaplin's got a hat trick against the Spurs kind of B team during the close down break. You've got Broadhead scoring for Wales, delivering. Hurst has now got 2 in 2. We score. What did Paul Warne say? We score a set piece every other game. There are so many goals throughout the side that we shouldn't fear anybody. And I can easily see us going and get a couple at Pride Park.
There you go. Well, let's see what other people have to say. Mark's 3-1 prediction is endorsed by Stephen. He's going 3-1. Anthony is going for a 1-0, and has even given us the minute for the goal as well.
I'm going with Anthony tomorrow, so I hope he's right.
There you go. Eric Clacton 2-1 to us. Romeo is asking about the curry. Had a chicken tikka patio. It was excellent. Zyka, the curry house of choice for Blue Monday in Ipswich. There you go, Romeo. Thank you. Neil's asked about the Pizza Cup. We'll come back to that in a second because you and I have had a prediction of that one as well. Michael 2-0 to Town, and it's no longer a dangerous scoreline. Still waiting for both fullbacks to score in a game. Stranger things have happened. Romeo, Town to win 1-0. Chappers to score. Come on, you Blues. Yeah, it's been a while since. When was the last time that Chaplin scored? Or have I overlooked something really obvious?
He scored in this run. I can't think when though. Didn't he get a brace and got subbed off again?
Yeah,
in the last 2 or 3. Was it Accrington at home? Forest Green?
Yeah, something maybe like that. Yeah. What else have we got? 2-0 Town says, Solly, good to have you with us. Any other predictions? Neil's going for 2-0. David's going 3-0. That's what we want,
that would
David.
be a hell if we did that. That's a hell of a statement. Yeah. Statement. To the rest of the league, that's a proper look at us. Just give us the title if that happens. Just, if that happens, then wow.
Chris Rand going for a 2-1 as well. What else have we got? So Pizza Cup, Neil here. Thank God we're not in the final. A huge distraction. What say you, Seb? We haven't been to Wembley yet.
Yeah, I'd like to have gone to Wembley, I guess, but yeah, it's very much the secondary kind of prize, and we don't know what would have happened. Plymouth have kind of dropped off a little bit, haven't they, since their run continued to the final? They've got Bolton obviously at the weekend, so we don't know what would have happened if we had 2 extra rounds of Carling or 3 extra rounds of Carabao, not Carabao, what's it called, Pizza Cup, in the last few weeks or so. So yeah, it'd be lovely to go to Wembley, but the eye on the prize is very much get promoted, and that is plan A, B, C, D, E, G, and F, isn't it? So yeah, and crack on with the league, and
it doesn't count until I'm right. We've given our predictions here. I'm hoping for extra time. I'd quite like a 2-2 after normal time, and the whole all the way through to penalties. That would be fantastic. You're going for a Bolton win, though.
Yeah, I think Bolton might just do it. Plymouth away aren't amazing, and yeah, for some reason I've just got an inkling they might mess it up, which I hope would then maybe set them off on a little bit of a crappy run of form again as well. They've not been amazing. I know they won last time out, and they are 5 points clear of us. We have a game in hand, obviously, but I would, just like Sunderland did. Yeah, they lost the Pizza Cup final because wasn't it recorded in the 3rd series of Sunderland Till I Die or something, and they went back, didn't they, a couple of weeks later and lost to Charlton, I think, with the last kick of the game in the playoff final. So it would be great if that kind of similar thing happened, and Plymouth went on a bit of a dodgy run after that, and then ended up finishing 3rd, and we'll take the title.
Yeah, thanks for that shout, Nick. That's a good recollection there. FPL Tractors going 0-0 in the Pizza Cup. 6 red cards, an energy sapping pitch. Those were the days at the old Wembley, weren't they? Blimey, that old pitch. Any other thoughts on that? Well, we've got a Marks and a 0-5 demolition of Derby. There we go. Little Plymouth taking 39,000, said Graham, our resident Plymouth expert. Enjoy your day out, Graham, if you're heading down there. I think they've got 75,000 expected for that one. It just again illustrates how League One is just growing. And yeah, the top 6, you look at it, these teams are championship teams at the very least, aren't they? So
yeah,
a good statement for League One there. Mark, maybe Rich needs to see a sports psychologist to help him with his terrible loss of prediction form. I just need to have an easy week, Mark. I need to find an easy run of games, predict them all 1-1. But yeah, if Kevin Minch is watching, he can come and help me with my psychology. Any help, definitely appreciated there. Maybe I should get Chris Rand and Chat GPT to help me out as well with my predictions.
Just keep doing what you're doing, mate. It's all you can do.
Keep doing what we're doing. That t-shirt, I feel the pressure now, so maybe that's the incentive I need to turn my form around. Well, we'll see what happens next week. It's a long old season, and you're not in top spot yet. You're not in top spot yet. So,
no, I know. I might not get top spot, but given that you were 10 rounds ahead or whatever it was, and all the different metrics you made up, you're winning on pretty much every one. I have clawed it back week on week, and yeah, I think if you now combine me and Telegram's contributions, the contributors are now winning.
That's bollocks.
The contributors are now winning.
It doesn't matter. You're not part of Telegram.
Well,
this is the kind of nonsense everyone's seeing playing out.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend, etc. So we have joined forces against your tyrannical reign.
This is the kind of nonsense I have to put up with everyone. We'll see how we get on next week. And it's good because this was going to be ended, wasn't it? But maybe secretly I've been sabotaging myself to keep this going as long as I can because I run Room 101 back. Yeah, I remember those days. We'll see how we get on next week. It's turned into a little bit. I've lost it. Mark's right. Rich and a Paul.
It's great. Just sit back and watch.
I'm on strings, everyone, but that's predictions are they matter. They're important. No, they don't matter at all. Thank you, everyone who's made it all the way through. If you want to shout out, if you want another prediction, now is your last chance as we do some summing up. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. Really interactive, great chat. As always, thank you to Seb for his research. And thank you, everyone, for your insights and thoughts in the chat as well. We mentioned the Greyhound. We mentioned Innovation. Now, so we'll do that again. Come and join us on Telegram, Matchday Chat. open already, ready for tomorrow. Whether you're at the game or following remotely, you'll be able to see what's going on there and discuss it in great detail after the fact as well. Flagship show back 8 p.m. on Sunday night with Ben in the host chair, talking all the way through Derby and looking ahead for Wycombe. And we'll be back next week. We'll try and figure out a double header. Because we've got the Easter weekend, haven't we? And you're laughing at FBL Tractor, aren't you? Yeah,
that's a brilliant comment. Yeah, FBL Tractor's just commented saying Rich is about to do a Kevin Keegan. I would love it.
He's got to predict the Pizza Cup, and I tell you, good stuff. Thank you, everyone. Some really positive chat there. Thank you to Neil. Thank you, everyone else. Come on, you blue, says Neil Wilmore. 3 points tomorrow. We'll set up a great Easter run. FBL Tractor. Come on, you blues. Michael, great show. It's all about us. We've got to remember, all about what we do from now on. To the blues, says Bluey. Seb, final thoughts from you?
Thank you, mate. Thank you for all your help with the stats and for hosting. And like we said last weekend, it is no longer for me to do the sign off because you are the one doing this as the winning run continues. So I will say thank you to everybody for joining us. We will see you next week. We work out the plan for the Easter pre-match shows, and I will hand back to you for the final word.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Apologies for the technical mishap as well. Got it back on track. And come on, you blues.